Hey, true believers, Anglin here. This is a commissioned video, a top 10 list. Comic books were better when they were gender bent, or is it top 10 gender bent? I don't know. Anyway, it's about gender bent heroes, you know, basically like Batgirl to Batman, so forth and so on. Now, it was only 5 heroes that I would think would be better if they were gender bent. And so I figured, okay, you know what? This could be interesting. But since I do top 10s, I figured, you know, I'm going to do another 5, which is ones that I think they're doing good and that I would actually like to see in movies and TV and all sorts of stuff. A couple of them, actually one of them is definitely getting their own, and one of them we have seen before. But anyway, these are some of my favorite, and I tried to be even between Marvel and DC because I am a bigger DC fan and such. Either way, I thought this would be a fun, this is a fun video, and I appreciate it being commissioned. Now, if you want to commission your own video, by all means, go on over to Ko-Fi. The link is in the description below. I've got all sorts of topics. You could do top 10 lists. You could do something on a story that you like. Maybe you want to bring attention to a story that doesn't get talked about. Comic book origins are the most popular. Those are where I look at the first appearance of any comic book superhero, villain, or team. I do that for minority characters as well. I look at books maybe you think are really bad, and you got to ask, are they really that bad? Because you kind of like them, and they've got a bad reputation. One of the reasons I do this is because YouTube is choking out my channel, so I do commissioned videos. But what you could do is go on over to Old Man Comics. The link is in the description below. And subscribe and hit that notification bell there. I'm trying to get that one up to 1,000 subs, and as soon as I will, all of the videos are going to go over there, all the comic book videos, because they're killing this one. They're not allowing any video to get more than 300 views anymore. And after that, they just trickle in. So anyway, I'd like to thank everybody who's done the commission videos or who's gone over to Old Man Comics, and without further ado, let's get this party started. First, we're going to be looking at the gender-bent heroes I think are done right, and the ones I think should get their own comic book, TV show, or movie. Number 5. I wanted to include some Marvel in here, because like I said, I'm a huge DC fan, so it's very easy for me to ignore Marvel sometimes. But X-23, in my opinion, is actually a good character. But she has to be written well. And let's write her as X-23, not as all-new Wolverine. That was one of my problems when I came into all of this and I started reading her. I was like, there's so much potential here. One of the things I would do, however, in order to make her better is, and I would do this to Wolverine also, I would bring them back to the 1980s when they weren't gods. I mean, there's no way to kill any of these healing factor people. And I would definitely make it so you can overwhelm the healing factor, where you can make it just too much for them to completely recover. That being said, I love the inclusion of her in Logan, and just based on that, I think this could be an awesome TV show and or an awesome film, and definitely get some decent writers on her. Doesn't have to be female, doesn't have to be male, whatever, just the better writer for her. And call her X-23 and not all-new Wolverine. Number 4. She-Hulk and Holy Toledo. I know she's getting a TV show. Don't at me. I just hope it's being based on the Dan Slott run or the John Byrne run of comics and not what's happening now, because they are so mishandling the Hulk. And I understand. Personally, I think the Hulk should be treated as a curse. Yeah, fine. But her curse isn't exactly Bruce Banner's. And she was afraid to turn back into Jennifer Walters because she had control of it. And I like that because it just told you exactly what her curse was, her lack of self-esteem and such like that. And that was one of the things that made Jennifer Walters and She-Hulk such an interesting character. And yeah, they played her up for laughs. They played her up as jokes. She was the first Deadpool, you know, where she broke the fourth wall and everything. But she was just a strong and decent and just multiple layered character, and I really would love to see that happen in her TV show. Number 3. Now, I know I'm going to get some pushback on Ms. Marvel, especially since I haven't seen it yet, but I hear that season 3 of Justice is not thrilling people. But I've always liked it. I liked it when I saw her in the Teen Titan comic books, and I really do think that this could be a character that could be explored in a movie, TV show, or even a comic book. As a matter of fact, before Martian Manhunter, because we've seen The Last Man on Earth a lot. We haven't watched The Last Woman, and I think it would be an interesting way to take a look at it. I think it's another perspective. And I do believe it would be interesting to see how this last woman of Mars dealt with her isolation, and then, of course, traveling to Earth and trying to fit in. Of course, you could say, well, she's a pretty girl. Of course she's going to fit in. But in this case, you know, she is actually an alien as well. Number 2, Hawkgirl. And could we call her Hawkgirl, not Hawkwoman? And granted, you know, I know the Gloria Steinems are, oh my God, she's a woman. Why do you? Okay, you know what? Justice League, the cartoon, really put her over the top as far as popularity is concerned, as far as, anyway, Hawkgirl's popularity. And frankly, I've learned to really appreciate her. I'm a big Hawkman fan, and or, you know, wing guy with mace, as I'm saying now, because I'm afraid they're going to take Venditti off the book so they could put Castellucci on it. But seriously, she's a character I think it's time for her breakout. It's time for her to get her own movie, her own TV show, something along those lines. And I do not mind if they want to make her own comic book in the DC Comics, especially if they let Venditti write it. I think that would be really interesting, especially when he finally converges the two books. Oh my goodness gracious. I think I just gave myself a geekasm. And the number 1 comic book character, the gender-bent comic book character, I think they have done right and definitely deserves their own comic book TV show and or movie, is Zatanna. I mean, how can it be anybody else, right? I mean, she's one of the original. You could say, well, she's not really a gender-bent, but her dad, Zatara, who, by the way, appeared in Action Comics #1, same as Superman, he disappeared, and her first storyline was trying to find her father. I mean, that alone would make for a great film. The whole bit with Hawkman and everything, you could either include him or you could find a way that, you know, make it her own story or something like that. Either way, I think that story alone would make for a good TV show, miniseries, or anything, actually. Let's rewrite it. Man, we get like Green Arrow Longbow Hunters. We got Flash Year 1. How about a Zatanna Year 1? You know, let's make that into a 2-hour movie. Let's get her popular among the masses, same as she is with comic book collectors. Alrighty, gang, that was 5 heroes I think were done well, and they deserve more attention and everything, more comics, TV shows, movies, and so forth. Now we're going to talk about the creative part. Now, this is the 5 heroes that I think would be better gender bent and why. And I do appreciate this because I said, you know what, most gender-bent heroes are from male to female. I'm going to go backwards on this because there just aren't as many of those. Number 5. When I saw Boom Boom's name, I was looking up female superheroes. I went, yes, because I've got this story. Now, nobody thinks about this character anymore, but I think this would be an excellent story about a guy who he reads comics all the time. He wants to be a superhero. He gets a power, and so he figures he's going to be a crime fighter, but he's got a power that does more damage than the actual criminals. So how does that go? How is he seen in the public light? If he is blowing up a building with a superpower when he's trying to stop a shoplifter, so he's got to learn how to control things. He's got to learn how to make smaller. He's just got to deal with superpower instead of just rushing out and being the ultimate hero. This is a guy who's going to stumble around, maybe actually have the public look down on him because of his mistakes. And I think that right there could make this character a hell of a lot better, since I think that as a girl, the public would be far more forgiving than if it's some crazy guy throwing around explosives. Number 4, Squirrel Girl. So when I thought of this one, as soon as I saw Squirrel Girl's name, do you know who I thought of? Murdoch from the A-Team, and how he's crazy, but sometimes you get a feeling that he's not really crazy. He's doing everything on purpose just to annoy people. And that's what I kind of figured I would make a male Squirrel Girl. And the reason being is, yeah, she's, like I said, benefit of the doubt. And this is something that I think would really fit. a guy who claims he could talk to squirrels and nobody's believing him. And even though he's a crime fighter, he does what he can, he is just not respected in anything. And I think that would be a lot of fun. Yes, it would be a comedy. It would be a comedy TV show. I would not want this to be a movie. And in all honesty, I don't want it to be a comic book either, because they keep messing that up over and over again. But I think as a TV show, Squirrel Girl or Squirrel Guy could be a lot of fun. Number 3, the cheetah. So Wonder Woman's friend gets possessed by the cheetah god, and this is one of the great tragedies of her life. So what if it was Steve Trevor? What if it's somebody who she actually loved? I think that would be so much more resonant. I think it would be so much deeper as far as emotion is concerned. Granted, now Wonder Woman doesn't have a boyfriend, but she wants to save him. She wants to get her boyfriend back. She doesn't want to go out and get another. She's already found the true love of her life, and he is possessed by this evil that causes him to see her as the enemy. And that, I think, would be such a greater tragedy for Wonder Woman than Minerva getting it. Anyway, that's my opinion on that one. I absolutely believe that this would be a better character if it was Steve Trevor. Number 2, Katana. Okay, you know what? I'm not going to make a lot of friends with a feminist on this one. I think a lot of the same reasons that Steve Trevor would be a better cheetah, a male would be better in the role of Katana, because her husband's soul is stuck in that sword and she tries to free him. And I think it would be so much better if it was a guy trying to free the love of his life. And one of the reasons why, and here's where the feminists are going to hate me, there's a reason there's a final girl in every horror film, because we can relate. We don't want to see the woman get hurt. When a man is beaten, it's like, okay, it might have been a one-on-one or something. We can accept it a lot better. And I think a man trying to find his one true love's soul, trying to free it, I think that would have deeper resonance. I think it would be more emotional. So at me, I guess. Be gentle. And the number 1 comic book character I think would be better if it was gender bent, and the reasons why, is the Phoenix. Now, bear with me. A lot of people know, of course, Death of Phoenix is the only story that is being told about this character. But one of the things that the movies get wrong, the TV show kind of did okay, is that the whole story is called the Phoenix Saga, and it starts in issue 101, and it goes to 137. So there's a lot of stuff there where you see her try to be a hero, and they don't really focus on it as much as they would. And I think a guy doing this would be so much better, because it wouldn't be a tragedy of, oh, she was corrupted at the end because of some guy that she fell for. This would be a guy who realizes he's the ultimate power and he's doing good. And much like Superman and Justice 2, everybody starts to go, wait a second, yeah, you're pushing it a little bit too far. And the more that they do this, the more he realizes everybody's wrong. And he starts inserting his will and becoming a dictator, to the point where this guy's powerful enough to claim the universe, not just a planet. And there you've got an entire series, not just for one comic book. It's an entire run. It's an entire family of books trying to defeat this one evil creature. So there you go, gang. Those are my choices for best gender bent, and who I think would be better as a gender bent hero. What do you think? What's your idea? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to click like and share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. That's all that really matters, is that notification bell. That's what YouTube really looks at. And if you don't mind helping out the channel, go on over to Patreon or to Ko-Fi and drop $1 in the till. You could even commission your own video if you want. The link's in the description below to Ko-Fi. And pick out whatever category, whatever story, whatever character or anything, or a top 10 list like this one. Remember to subscribe and hit that notification bell over at Old Man Comics. I'd like to thank everybody who's already done that. And to everyone, all of the true believers out there, thank you very, very much for watching.